Boom, bam, December 31st, 2017. I fell asleep for a long while, working, and I was actually sick, but I couldn't not come back to talking this sports information. Basketball's here. Rookies are here. I can't get away from the sports. I gotta talk about what's going on because there's so much going on. Who are the top 10 rookies as of the halfway point of the NBA, which is really not here yet. It's actually in 2 months. But for the end of this year, who are the top 10 guys? I'm showing you stats. I'm not throwing them in this order for any way to say that this is where they're going to land. But as you can see, Ben Simmons is putting in work. He's struggling lately, but he's putting in work. He's going to have to be in the top three just for the pure fact of his stats. 19 a game almost. Almost 10 rebounds. 8 assists. The guy is killing it. This turnover thing is scary, though. That's 4 times 2 or 3, 12 points a game that moves out of the hands of Ben Simmons when he gets these turnovers. So, and that's the way I look at it. I look at him as points, either a 2-pointer or a 3-pointer. Next one down, Kyle Kuzma surprised me, 17 points a game. Then we got Donovan Mitchell doing some great things. And the other category that I failed to mention is they have to play over 20 minutes a game. Donovan Mitchell, incredible right now, really showing out. He's not a pure point guard, but if you look at his stat line, he's doing similar things to the gentleman on the bottom of him, which is Dennis Smith Jr., which is very, very interesting. So even though Don is more of a guard, he is putting up similar stats to Mr. Dennis Smith Jr., and he is just as much of an athlete, and I would say a better shooter than Mr. Dennis Smith Jr. All right, so incredible year for Don Mitchell. He's up there. Dennis Smith Jr. has been injured a little bit. He's the next one down, 14 a game. Almost 4 assists, 4.5 assists a game. Lauri Markkanen, hey, hello, my friend. Hello, Mr. Phil Jackson. We were making fun of the guy. I said, what the hell is he doing talking about trading Porzingis? 14 a game, 8 rebounds a game, 1.5 assists, low turnover ratio. Impact-wise, Lauri is incredible. If his team record was better, he'd be ranked a lot higher in the top 3, without a doubt. Lauri is a surprise of the season for me. Jayson Tatum, solid. I don't see how much more up this kid goes from here. I think he'll be 18 to 19-point scorer with the talent they have, and that's all they need him to do. Really fits in perfectly with the Celtics. Perfect fit for the team. They're a playoff team as well, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Also, 5 rebounds a game. That's huge. John Collins, everyone's sleeping on the kid. 11 points a game. 8 rebounds almost, or 7 rebounds. Almost a block shot a game. So not a bad telltale sign from this kid. He think he'll be a nice power forward in this league, or possible small center. He's doing a great job for Atlanta. One of the reasons why they're still playing ball, and again, it's the East. Anyone can make the playoffs. Mike James. Who? Mike James. I know he hears that all the time. They keep doing that. Mike James, not the Mike James from the Bulls. This is the Mike James from Europe. Incredible season. He's a terrific athlete, 11 points a game, 4 assists. Looking good. I like this kid. I like what he's doing. We got DeAaron Fox. Comes up next. 10 points a game. About 4.5 assists. He's not coming to his own yet. But he has a problem. His problem is a stalemate underneath. Bogdan Bogdanovic, another Bogdanovic. He reminds me of Dragic. What's his name? Goran Dragic out of the Miami Heat. Incredible player. Good assist ratio at 2. With the minutes played and the assists don't really tell a story. He makes plays for folks. I like this 1-2 punch. I think they can play together. There is a future there with these two rooks. Josh Jackson, 9 points a game. He's standard right now. I can't say he's doing anything too bad or anything too good. He's just out there. The man that everyone's talking about, Lonzo Ball, Mr. Jason Kidd Light, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.4 steals. Again, it's the total stat line. He's not scoring at all. His field goal percentage is in a dumpster, 31%. Horrible. 3-point percentage, horrible, okay? But he's doing all these other things, which puts him up there in the ranking. Last but not least is Dillon Brooks. Surprised? I'm surprised as well. 20 games, playing over 30 minutes a game. He's a contributor, solid, 8 points a game. I think he'll be a 14, 13 off of the bench. Six-man type of role. I think he'll be there for a long time. Does a lot of good things for rebounds per game. 1.6 turnovers. I really like this kid. Solid player. They got picked in the right spots. Now let's go look at him and how I have him ranked. A lot of talk. Hopefully you're still online watching this. Top player for me, Mr. Ben Simmons, without a doubt. Let's get off of this hoopla that he is not a player or Ben Simmons. You know, I was calling him. I was really calling Ben Simmons. Legitimately, I was calling him Boris Diaw with some athleticism when he first came in. I did not believe. But he is a true hybrid type of player. He is Magic Johnson in a way. He's Tim Duncan in a way. And I think that's where we leave it off. I think Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan combination is what I see in this kid. He needs to get his shot in order. That is the biggest calling point to him right now. He has to shoot the ball. He has to be more aggressive. And his form is not bad. As you can see, he can get to the lane at will. 6'9", 6'10 player, long arms, does a lot of everything. Great court vision. And I think he has the potential to be one of the greatest players in the NBA. Scoring-wise is his big non-calling point, and it's going to be a big problem outside of 14 feet. It looks scared to do anything. This is what he needs to be doing full time. So Ben Simmons, I think he has this locked in still. If the Sixers can make the playoffs, I mean, they're having some trouble with their rotational role players, need to help out. That guy right there is one of them, Jared Bayless, and there's a couple people that need to get healthy. I think they'll get to the playoffs, and I think Ben Simmons will have the Rookie of the Year honors. He's done a great job. Teams have figured him out now because of his non-shot prowess. But number one for me. Off to number two. Here we go. Here goes the arguments. Why isn't Donovan Mitchell up there? Where's Donovan Mitchell? Well, it's Lonzito, man. He's averaging almost a triple-double. If you can't tell, I'm that kind of guy. He's doing the same thing Mr. Ben Simmons is doing. Both guys can't shoot a lick. I think Lonzo is more of a case of his form and trying to figure out how to use that in this NBA. But averaging almost a triple-double, the court vision, another guy with great court vision. He is Jason Kidd to me. Jason Kidd, and he should be mixed in with a Sean Livingston. That's another guy he should emulate. Sean Livingston, what he's doing right now with the Golden State Warriors, I know his shot is totally different, but they're similar type of player, big, long, tall point guards with great court vision that are making changes to the game. Again, this is one of the times where his form worked for him when he gets set up, and I think, again, Lonzo Ball's having a great season. His blow-by speed is not killing me, but doesn't need it because he's 6'6". Got to remember that, guys. 6'6", point guard. Doesn't need to fly past you, right? He just needs to get in the lane and then put his hands up, and he's over whoever point guard is there, unless they're super athletes, a la John Wall, who's also 6'4". This is what he can do. Beautiful. Next up, Here goes your boy that you wanted so bad, Don Mitchell.
To celebrate
Don Mitchell is having quite a season. Okay? Very, very surprised. A teens pick, which means he wasn't a lottery, picked in the teens, and is putting in some goddamn work here. Who does he remind me of? A lot of different players. Okay? You could say an athletic Wesley Matthews. You could say Steph Marbury, scoring wise. You could say he'll have an impact like Louis Williams. He's a scorer. He's a scorer. Who's happening to make plays for his players because of his shooting prowess, his ability to get into the lane. He is creating opportunities for his team, and that's an incredible thing. As well as having, if not one of the top, is one of the top athletes outside of, actually, I hate to say it, folks, him and Dennis Smith Jr. are probably equal. Don't get mad at me. They're probably equal. We really slept on Mr. Mitchell. I think Dennis is a little bit more fluid with the handles and can get into the lane a lot easier. I like the jump hop rather than the strong dribble, which I see a lot with Mr. Mitchell. So he is a third guy, and he could potentially move past Lonzo Ball, depending on what we see from the Jazz, which are not having a bad season. Next up, the man. Who's my man's buddy? You know what I'm talking about. Kuzma. Where the hell did this guy come from? Okay, so where do I see this kid? Easily, Kyle Kuzma reminds me a lot of Matrix, Shawn Marion, as well as Robert Horry. Great pickup. Got to keep this kid. He's averaging almost 16 points a game. The kid is damaging teams. He's not a super athlete. He's not a super shooter. He's not a super handler. He is a all-purpose player. You need that in the NBA. He is an exact type of Shawn Marion player that I mentioned that just does a lot of good things. And I know the Lakers didn't know what they were getting. I know they didn't. But he's doing a great job. He's going to get paid in 3 or 4 years. I don't know if it will be with the Lakers. But he's actually overshadowing Lonzo Ball right now with his play. And easier for him to do it because the ball's not in his hands. Remember, Lonzo's coming in one of the tougher positions to come in and make an impact, which is the point guard position. Well, Kyle's kind of playing the forward role where he can float around and do a lot of different things. So there goes Mr. Kuzma. He's up fourth. Now it gets a little bit interesting. I could switch these two around. You know, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, but technically Smith or Lauri Markkanen. I mean, I could literally say Dennis Smith Jr. should be below Lauri Markkanen, but just off his talent and what I think he'll be able to do, he just came back from injury. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. How has he looked in the NBA? He looked the same way he looked in high school and the same way he looked in college. You're looking at a top 5 guard in this league. He's going to be leading the NBA in the future. The Knicks made a grave mistake here. Grave mistake. But Phil Jackson has proven me wrong a couple times here. Don't know if he'll do it with this kid. I don't think Frank Nikita will be able to have the impact that this kid will have in the league. Even though Frank Nikita needs a couple more years to even catch up to the play time that Mr. Dennis Smith Jr. has had throughout his career. Because remember, Frank Ntilikina has just really come into the basketball spectrum. So maybe 2 years from now we'll see some. That's probably how much time as he'll have. But Dennis Smith Jr., he's another one, depending on how it goes, This number 5 slot, he can move easily into the number 1 slot. To me, he is, definitely the ROI written all over him. It's all about one thing with Dennis Smith Jr. It's not about him, how he plays. It's not about his focus. I don't want to say this, but I got to say it. It's a Derrick Rose thing. Injuries. That'll be the only thing that holds back Dennis Smith Jr. It won't be anything with his play or his focus. His athleticism is off the charts. It's will his body hold up. Same thing goes for Joel Embiid. These are great players that just, I hope, stay healthy so we can see their full potential. Now we are off to Mr. Lowry. Mr. Lowry marketing, the guy that they're going to trade Porzingis for. Great season, averaging almost a double-double. Once again, look at this. Typical Euro-type play, but remember, he went over. Look at this. Big man, 6'10", 6'11". Beautiful. Beautiful. Solid player. Who does he remind me of? Don't need to remind me of anybody. He's Lowry marketing, okay? Great player. Inside out type of guy, 3 and D, with a little bit more athleticism. Good shot. Boom. I like him. Solid player. A solid player that can become a star. If you look at Marc Gasol and his body of work, I would have never thought Marc Gasol would be what he is. He's a solid, fundamental player that is now an all-star. With that, while we have a super talent, I'm going to give an example like a Julius Randle or even a Gerald Green. Where are they at now? All right, these are super athletes with nothing holding them back. But look at the careers of a Gasol versus the careers of a Marc Gasol, right? It's not all about athleticism, even though Lowry has a bit of that, right? He has everything. He's another guy that I don't know if the year goes on because he's on the Bulls, will he get that play and that opportunity to show what he is? Even if he averaged 20, it's because of the Bulls, and they're going to say it's garbage time. But I feel they have a bright future with this kid. He does a lot of good things. Can play inside out, and a great pick for the Bulls. Great future there. Mike James. Mike James. Who? Mike James. So Mike James is a player out of Europe I was talking about. First thing, if you got a kid named Mike James, I think there's a couple Mike James that made it to the NBA. Great name for NBA, by the way. So this kid came over from Europe, a little bit older, but he has done wonders. And another reason, okay, they were always looking to trade Bledsoe. They were trying to get rid of his contract. This guy made it easier. He was playing the bulk of minutes anyway. Done a great job in orchestrating the team movement. Almost a double-digit score, 4 or 5 assists, and this is again by the choice of the team. If he had the green light, similar stats to Dennis Smith Jr. But there's other talents on his team that can play an impact. But I really like Mike. Solid player. If he goes to another team, looks like he can be a very solid backup for years to come in the NBA. But it's taking advantage of this starting opportunity with the Phoenix Suns. And again, also he's a tremendous athlete. I don't know if you've seen this kid. He can fly. So he's playing within the constructs of the game. Similar to a Will Bynum, even though Will Bynum was a lot more explosive and a little bit tighter handles. I think this is what Will Bynum could have done if he was a full-time guy. Also, Will Bynum, thinking about Donovan Mitchell, similar type player as well. That's another scorer. If you go watch Will Bynum tape, you'll see what I'm talking about and what they can do. Jay Tatum, you would argue, why is he not at the top? Team is doing well. They're in the playoffs. Well, I'm saying he has a lot of help. I mean, Jay has a lot of help. I mean, he has a lot of help with Kyrie. He has Mr. Brown. I mean, they got talent. They got Horford. But what he's able to do is remind me of a poor man's Paul Pierce. Over time, Jayson Tatum could be the best player in this draft. Okay? As far as team impact, they don't need him as much, but over time, look at that step away. Jayson Tatum could be the best player in this draft. Okay? He does everything, has all the intangibles. Favorite player is Kobe Bryant. First year in, scoring machine. And a blessing for them is the fact that they didn't get Mr. Josh Jackson that would not have fit on this team that well, except from a defensive perspective, in which Mr. Tatum has proven to do a very, very good job, much better than he did at Duke. And there again, smooth jumper, he can shoot. He also has post game. He has a bit of handles, so I don't think there's any way you can get away from the fact that this kid reminds you a lot of a Paul Pierce type of player, and he's done a great job in the league. The sky is the limit for him, so we're looking at an exceptional future for Mr. Tatum, and I expect him to totally move up the rankings. It's just that he has so much help. There's no way I can throw him above a Ben Simmons or Lonzo Ball, who don't have Kyrie Irving at the end of the day. Bojan Bogdanovic. Oh my God. Who's this guy? Right? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Mr. Bogdan Bogdanovic, and I'll do a couple honorable mentions. Started to play with the injuries to a couple folks, and I think they got a steal here. Look at this. Beautiful jump shot. Better than Gordon on that aspect. Also plays D. Thank you, Lord. Has good handles, good vision. Keeps his head up. And is able to do a lot of... Look at this. Look at this. Vince Carter was getting pissy telling him pass the ball. But Bojan is definitely doing a great job for this team. A little bright spot. Where I think he falls into this team, it all depends. I think there was another Pejo Stojakovic. Great shooter for the Kings. But I don't want to compare him to that. He's really a Gordon Dragic type player. And I think he can be a good six-man, maybe a starter for some time. I like his play. I think he's up there in the rankings. His stalemate is Fox. Fox has not been as advertised. I would say out of the rookies, he's the one that's disappointed me the most. But again, he also is going to have the toughest adjustment. Remember, this is the NBA. Remember that sleight of body. He doesn't appear to be having any issues because he can blow by everyone still to this day. The problem is his finishing is a little bit, hasn't been consistent enough. Jump shot has not been consistent enough. He's still been able to do that. But other than that, Mr. Fox has a ways to improve. Is he doing bad for a rookie? No. It's just that they expected him to be in the talks with Ben Simmons as well as Lonzo Ball, and he's not there. So I got to bring him down to number 10. He's on the list. He has a potential to grow, and we know that special things can happen in the second half of the season. I think he moves up to 5 or 6 before the season is done. So those are my top 10. We had Simmons, we had Ball, we had Donovan, Kyle, Dennis, Laurie, Michael James out of Phoenix, Jayson Tatum, Celtics, Bogdan from the Kings, and then DeAaron Fox from the Kings. And an honorable mention that I just want to throw up here, John Collins is having a very, very solid season for the Atlanta Hawks. Incredible use of opportunity is what I would say. He knows where to be at. He's definitely one of your Not 3-and-D guys, but defense, block shots, playing the same role as our buddy, what's his name, out of the Warriors, that's forcing JaVale McGee to lose his playing time. Bell's having a great season for the Warriors, and Mr. John Collins is having a similar effect with the Atlanta Hawks, except that he does have playing time advantage here. Dwight Howard is gone, so there's an opportunity for this kid to play. Can he shoot a jump shot? Yes, sir. For me, dangerous player and what he can become. He's another player I think will be maybe an all-star before it's said and done with his career, with a couple of good years in the way the Hawks organization can work wonders. I love what I see out of him. Incredibly athletic, great rebounder, great with block shots. Just a general great pickup for the Atlanta Hawks. Like him. Next up is Dillon Brooks. Solid player, right? They knew what they were getting. They're getting exactly what they drafted out of Dillon Brooks. I mean, the kid is going to be a great role player from the time to come. Can do a lot of good things. Not great at anything, but solid. A guy that he reminds me of is an athletic Dudley. I forgot he was on the Phoenix Suns. I think he still may be there. But similar type of player, can get in the lane at will. Denzel Valentine is another one that comes to mind. These are your glue guys. These are your Wesley Matthews type of guys that are not crazy athletes, but does everything well. And depending on the scenario, can get paid big time if he continues to perform. I love what I see from his IQ perspective, and it's a shame that people don't really respect this and have him up higher in the rankings. Again, he's averaging plus 20 minutes for this team, which is stacked with guards, and for him to even get the playing time, you have to respect that. He's a high IQ player, which you have to love now. I used to be in love with leapers, but they've always let me down. It seems like you need some brains to play the sport, and that's why I have him and John Collins as honorable mention that can possibly move up the rankings. So, in a nutshell, Happy New Year for all of you. This was long, but someone wanted to get together for our 10 best rookies at this point. I got to go with Simmons to win it all. I got Lonzo Ball right behind him. And then Donovan Mitchell, depends on the situation, it'll be tough. But I got Dennis Smith moving up, and I got DeAaron Fox moving up as well. John Collins, it all depends if they make the playoffs. He could potentially move up and take some slots. Sorry, Lori, you may be out of this. Reason being is the Bulls, but you have had a great season. Let's see how it plays out, folks. Off work, I'm out of here. Peace. Have a happy New Year.